Hello everyone, and welcome to my BNB CBS Gossip 24 channel. The tension in The Bold and the Beautiful reached a fever pitch this week as Taylor Hayes' shocking medical report surfaced, leaving both Finn and Deacon utterly speechless. Viewers at home have been on the edge of their seats, wondering, is Taylor carrying Deacon's baby? And how will this revelation reshape the tangled web of relationships in Los Angeles' elite social circles? It all began in the serene yet charged atmosphere of Taylor's home. Taylor, ever composed yet clearly anxious, had called both Finn and Deacon together for a private discussion. Neither man could have anticipated the storm about to unfold. I think you both need to see this, Taylor said, holding an envelope with a subtle tremor in her hand. Her voice was soft but carried an unmistakable weight. Finn, ever protective, leaned forward instinctively. Deacon, on the other hand, seemed both curious and wary, sensing that Taylor's news could disrupt the fragile balance of their lives. Taylor slowly slid the envelope across the table. "It's my medical report," she continued. "I only just got the results back today." Finn's heart skipped a beat. Over the past weeks, he had noticed Taylor's uncharacteristic fatigue and her occasional, distant silences. At first, he had chalked it up to stress or lingering health concerns from her past. But now, holding the envelope in her hands, Taylor's composure seemed to fracture just slightly. Deacon, always the man who thrives on surprises, leaned in, a mixture of hope and apprehension in his gaze. He was no stranger to the complicated dynamics Taylor had woven over the years. Their history is long, full of passion, heartbreak, and scandal. Taylor exhaled slowly. "I didn't want to tell anyone until I was sure, but now, there's no hiding it." Finn's hands were slightly trembling. He trusted Taylor implicitly, yet a part of him dreaded the possibilities. Deacon, meanwhile, felt a rush of adrenaline, sensing that the news might be more consequential than he could have imagined. Taylor opened the envelope and handed it to Finn first. Finn's eyes scanned the report, and the color drained from his face. Every second stretched into an eternity as the words sank in. Taylor was indeed pregnant. Finn looked up, searching Taylor's eyes. How is this possible?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. Finn's mind raced. He knew he and Taylor had been intimate, but there was no doubt in his mind about the paternity complexities that could follow. Deacon, who had taken the report from Taylor moments later, was struck speechless. His usual smirk of confidence faded into a stunned expression. He looked between Taylor and Finn, searching for answers. "Wait, are you saying, this baby?" he stammered, barely able to finish his sentence. Taylor nodded, the faintest glimmer of fear in her eyes. "I don't know, yet. That's why I came to you both. I need to know the truth, for me, for the baby." Finn ran a hand through his hair, overwhelmed by conflicting emotions, fear, protectiveness, excitement, and a creeping sense of helplessness. He had dreamed of building a family with Taylor, but the shadow of uncertainty now loomed large. Deacon, on the other hand, felt a surge of something he hadn't experienced in years, hope. Could this be the chance to finally reconnect with Taylor in the most profound way possible? Or was he walking into a trap of emotional chaos? Taylor looked between the two men. "I know this is complicated," she said softly. "I want to be honest with both of you. The timing, the circumstances, they're tangled. I just want to do the right thing." Finn's jaw tightened. "Taylor, we need to do a paternity test. There's no other way to be sure." Deacon nodded slowly, still trying to process the reality of the situation. "Yeah. I agree. We owe it to the baby, and to ourselves." The atmosphere in the room shifted. Where there had been tension and suspicion, now there was a fragile sense of unity, a mutual recognition that the baby, whoever the father might be, had the power to change their lives forever. A past that haunts the present. The situation was further complicated by the shadow of Taylor's past. Taylor and Deacon share a deep, complicated history. Their love has always been passionate, tumultuous, and, at times, destructive. Finn, in contrast, represents stability, trust, and the promise of a life free from past baggage. Deacon's thoughts raced back to the early days of their romance, the clandestine meetings, the stolen kisses, and the heartbreak that followed each betrayal. And now, facing the possibility that he could be a father again, Deacon's emotions were a tangled mess of longing and fear. Finn, meanwhile, confronted a different kind of dilemma. His love for Taylor was unwavering, yet the shadow of Deacon's history with her loomed large. Could he provide the baby with the stability and protection it needed, even if Deacon was the biological father? Could he navigate the complex emotional terrain without losing Taylor? Taylor, for her part, was the calm in the storm. She had faced uncertainty before, but nothing like this. Her heart was caught between two men who loved her in profoundly different ways. And now, carrying a child whose paternity was unknown, Taylor faced one of the most critical decisions of her life. The bold and the beautiful's bombshell reveal. The paternity test became the focal point of the next episode, with viewers glued to their screens, speculating about the outcome. Rumors swirled, would the baby be Finn's, representing hope, security, and a fresh start? Or would it be Deacon's, rekindling an old flame and resurrecting a love story that had long been dormant? Taylor's secret had already sparked intense reactions on social media. Fans debated feverishly, with some rooting for Finn as the devoted, steadfast partner, while others longed for Deacon to reclaim his place in Taylor's life. Hashtags like #TaylorBabyBombshell and #Finn vs Deacon began trending, as viewers immersed themselves in the drama. Meanwhile, inside the B&B universe, the ripple effects of Taylor's revelation were just beginning. Ridge, ever the protective father figure, was furious. "Taylor, how could you keep this from us?" he demanded, pacing the living room with his trademark intensity. "This isn't just about you, it's about family, legacy, and the truth." Steffi, too, was caught in the crossfire. Though she loved Finn like a brother-in-law and cherished Taylor as a mentor, the news threatened to shake the foundations of her own family life. Her loyalty, as always, would be tested. Deacon's emotional turmoil. Deacon's journey over the next few days was nothing short of dramatic. He oscillated between joy and despair, imagining the possibility of fatherhood and fearing rejection. Every time he saw Taylor, his pulse quickened, his mind swirling with memories and what-ifs. "You don't understand, Taylor," Deacon said one evening as they spoke privately. "If it's mine, I could spend the rest of my life making up for everything I lost. I could be the father your baby deserves." Taylor's eyes glistened with tears. "Deacon, I need time and certainty. This isn't just about the past. It's about the child, too. I can't make promises I can't keep." Finn's protective instincts. Finn, ever the calm and rational presence, tried to remain a stabilizing force. He spent sleepless nights researching prenatal care, planning for the future, and imagining a family he might never fully have if the paternity test ruled against him. "Taylor," Finn said gently one morning, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder, "whatever happens, I'm here. I'll protect you and this baby. That's all I care about." Taylor's response was a mix of relief and anguish. Finn's unwavering support contrasted sharply with the emotional volatility Deacon brought, leaving her torn between two forms of love, both powerful but entirely different. The paternity test drama. Finally, the long-awaited day of the paternity test arrived. In true B&B fashion, the scene was filled with tension, suspense, and dramatic pauses. Taylor sat between Finn and Deacon, clutching the envelope that would reveal the truth. The lab technician entered, her expression neutral but her presence commanding attention. "The results are ready," she announced, handing the envelope to Taylor. Finn's hands trembled slightly, and Deacon's jaw tightened as Taylor slowly opened the envelope. Every viewer watching at home held their breath. Taylor's lips parted slightly, her eyes scanning the report. And then, she looked up at both men, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. This changes everything," she said softly. "The baby, it's..." At that moment, the screen cut to black, leaving fans in absolute suspense, hearts pounding, minds racing, and theories swirling. The world of the bold and the beautiful had been rocked once again by Taylor's secret, and the true father of the baby would not be revealed until the next explosive episode. Fan reactions and social media frenzy. The cliffhanger sent fans into a frenzy. Social media lit up with speculation, theories, and even memes. Could this be the ultimate twist in Taylor's storyline? Would Finn finally realize his dream of fatherhood, or would Deacon reclaim a role he thought long lost? Fan forums exploded. Some argued that Finn, with his steadiness, deserved the honor, while others felt that Deacon's passion and history with Taylor made him the rightful candidate. The debate raged across platforms, igniting a cultural moment for daytime television. What's next for Taylor, Finn, and Deacon? As the dust settles, the path forward for Taylor, Finn, and Deacon remains uncertain. The arrival of this baby, and the revelation of its father, promises to redefine relationships, loyalties, and the very dynamics of power within the B&B universe. Taylor faces a delicate balancing act, protecting her child, honoring her past, and navigating the emotional minefield of love and desire. Finn must confront the possibility of heartbreak, while remaining the protective, steadfast partner he has always been. Deacon, finally confronted with the opportunity for redemption, must prove that he can channel his passion into responsibility. One thing is certain, this bombshell has set the stage for one of the most dramatic storylines in recent B&B history. Every glance, every whispered word, and every decision will carry weight, as the true implications of Taylor's secret ripple through the lives of all involved. And for viewers, the suspense is delicious, intoxicating, and utterly irresistible. Who will be the father of Taylor's baby? Finn or Deacon? Or is there an even more shocking twist waiting around the corner? Only time, and the next heart-stopping episode, will tell. The tension in Los Angeles had reached an almost unbearable level as the secret of Taylor Hayes' pregnancy hung over the bold and the beautiful elite circle. After weeks of speculation, anticipation, and dramatic confrontations, Taylor finally held the envelope containing her paternity test results. The moment that fans had been waiting for, the reveal of the father of Taylor's unborn child, was at hand. Taylor sat between Finn and Deacon in her elegantly appointed living room. The morning sun streamed through the windows, but the warmth outside contrasted sharply with the storm brewing inside. Finn's eyes were fixed on Taylor, his expression a mixture of hope, dread, and fierce protectiveness. Deacon, on the other hand, shifted in his chair, emotions flickering across his face like lightning, anticipation, excitement, anxiety, and the tiniest spark of fear. Taylor's hands trembled slightly as she held the envelope. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was calm but edged with emotion. This is it. The results. We're going to know everything now. Finn leaned forward, his gaze intense. Taylor, whatever it says, I want you to know, I'm here for you. For you and the baby. Always. Deacon's fingers drummed on his knee. Yeah. Taylor. Whatever the results, this baby could change everything. For all of us. Taylor inhaled deeply and opened the envelope. The camera, and viewers at home, focused on her eyes, which flicked back and forth between Finn and Deacon. Then, she read aloud the words that would ignite a firestorm. The father of my baby is. And just as she began to speak the name, she paused, a single tear sliding down her cheek. Finn and Deacon leaned forward in unison, the tension practically electric. The reveal, Finn or Deacon? It's Finn. The room fell silent for a heartbeat. Then, Finn's eyes widened in shock, disbelief, and a surge of joy that left him almost speechless. He looked at Taylor, his hands trembling as he reached for hers. Taylor, really? He whispered. Taylor nodded, a tearful smile crossing her face. Yes, Finn. It's you. Our baby. Finn's emotions overwhelmed him. He pulled Taylor into a tender embrace, holding her as though letting go would shatter both of them. I can't believe this. I'm going to be a father, with you. Deacon, however, reacted differently. His face fell, the shock giving way to a mix of sorrow, regret, and a pang of envy. He had long fantasized about the possibility of fatherhood with Taylor, imagining a second chance at the love they had shared. But reality had not sided with him. Finn, Deacon began, his voice low and tight. I guess this is how it's meant to be. His smile was strained, almost bitter, but there was an effort, a conscious decision, to contain his emotions. Yet the disappointment in his eyes was unmistakable. Taylor placed a hand on Deacon's arm. Deacon, I know this isn't easy. I care about you. I always will. But Finn is the father. That's the truth. And we need to focus on what's best for the baby. Deacon nodded, swallowing hard. Yeah, I get it. I want the best for you, and for the baby. But even as he said the words, the room seemed heavier, charged with unresolved tension and unspoken longing. A family reacts. News of the paternity test spread quickly through the B&B inner circle, and reactions were immediate. Ridge, Taylor's ever-protective partner-turned-father figure, was relieved. Finally, he exclaimed when Finn shared the news privately. Now we can plan, and we can make sure Taylor and the baby are taken care of. Finn, you're going to be a great father. I know it. Steffi, who had been observing everything with careful concern, smiled at Finn. Congratulations, Finn. I've always known you'd be amazing with a child. Taylor's lucky. However, not everyone was pleased. Deacon, despite his outward composure, struggled with the reality of being sidelined in the life of a child he had hoped might have been his own. His thoughts raced. What would this mean for his future with Taylor? Could he remain in her life in any meaningful way? Or had he lost his chance forever? The emotional aftermath. For Finn and Taylor, the days following the reveal were a mixture of elation and nervous anticipation. Finn threw himself into research, reading every article he could find about pregnancy care, baby gear, and parenting strategies. He wanted to ensure that Taylor and their baby had everything they needed, a safe, happy, and loving environment. Taylor, meanwhile, felt a sense of relief but also the weight of responsibility. She had always known that carrying a child would change everything, but now the reality was undeniable. Finn was the father, and their future, however complicated by the shadows of the past, was beginning to take shape. But the presence of Deacon in their lives added complexity. Despite his disappointment, Deacon made it clear he wanted to remain a supportive figure. I may not be the father, Taylor, but I still care. I want to be there, in any way I can, he said quietly one evening. Taylor appreciated his sentiment but remained cautious. Deacon. I know you care. But for now, Finn and I need to focus on the baby and our family. We'll figure out everything else later. The media frenzy. Of course, in true B&B fashion, the news leaked to the media almost immediately. Paparazzi swarmed the exterior of Taylor's home, and gossip sites lit up with headlines like Finn to be father of Taylor Hayes' baby, Deacon heartbroken, and Taylor's pregnancy shakes up B&B romance triangle. Fans flooded social media, splitting into factions. Team Finn celebrated the devoted doctor finally getting his reward, while Team Deacon mourned the loss of a potential second chance at fatherhood for the passionate rogue. Hashtags like #FinnBabyDaddy and #DeaconHeartbreak trended globally. The media attention created tension for Taylor and Finn. Suddenly, what should have been a private, joyous moment became public property, forcing them to navigate not only the personal ramifications but the glare of the public eye. Planning for the future. Despite the chaos, Finn and Taylor began to make concrete plans for their future. Baby names were debated. Taylor suggested classics like Emma or Charlotte, while Finn leaned toward modern choices like Liam or Everett. Nursery plans were sketched, with pastel colors and calming designs intended to reflect peace and safety. Taylor, ever thoughtful, also considered how to maintain harmony with Deacon. He's part of our lives in some way, Finn. We can't erase that, she said one evening. Finn nodded, though a flicker of jealousy crossed his mind. Meanwhile, Deacon tried to maintain his composure, attending social events with polite detachment while secretly struggling with the knowledge that he had lost a role he had imagined for himself. Yet there was a flicker of hope in him too. Perhaps there was a way to remain connected to Taylor and the child, without overstepping boundaries. Unexpected twists. Just as the trio began to settle into a fragile equilibrium, B&B writers teased an unexpected twist, a mysterious health scare for Taylor. In a follow-up doctor's appointment, Taylor was informed of a complication that, while not immediately dangerous, required careful monitoring. Finn's protective instinct skyrocketed. He cancelled appointments, reorganized his schedule, and devoted himself entirely to Taylor's well-being. The doctor, ever professional but concerned, warned Finn and Taylor that stress could have consequences for the baby. Deacon, learning of the complication secondhand, was torn. He wanted to reach out, offer help, but worried about intruding. Ultimately, he decided to step back, respecting Taylor and Finn's space, though the worry gnawed at him incessantly. Emotional growth for all characters. The situation forced all three adults to confront their deepest feelings and reevaluate their priorities. Finn, though overjoyed, discovered the weight of responsibility that comes with fatherhood. Taylor embraced her role as a mother while balancing the complexities of past and present.